Good morning, everybody. It's me, your boy. Welcome to Everything Series, episode number 6. By far, the most mysterious, the most vile episode of this entire series, by far. Not vile, it just sounded cool. To get the tone, set the vibe just right, Reinforced Deepslate. We're going to talk all about it today. Everything you need to know. So Reinforced Deepslate, it's a very interesting block. We first saw this interesting block last year at Minecraft Live 2021. This took place on October 16th, 2021. Spooky season for sure, which is perfect for this block. Now, when we first saw this block, we didn't really see this block. It was only in the background. At Minecraft Live, we got zero attention, no focus or explanation on this block, and until this day, the same exact thing. There's no official explanation as to what this block actually is, other than weird and strange, and maybe a portal. Time jump from fall 2021 to February 2022, experimental snapshot, the one and only. The first time Reinforced Deepslate officially appeared in game was in that 1.19 test snapshot. Inside of that 1.19 test snapshot, players were able to move this block around with pistons, which means essentially you could set up an unbreakable cage. Unbreakable cages are not good. To make sure your fate is good, so you don't find yourself inside of one of these cages, drop a like on this video, and down below, comment a topic that you'd like to see the next episode on. Thank you. Texture talk. Let's talk about the texture of Reinforced Deepslate first. I feel like this is a really good spot to start. So the texture of the block, it's mysterious. Of course, it's got the most beautiful looking block in the game in the middle right there, the Deepslate. But then we also have this weird, bone, spine looking thing going on. The top of the block is absolutely beautiful, which is a shame that we won't be able to actually get this in survival, or at least that's how it seems it's going to be in 1.19. Imagine a floor made out of these things right there, oh, that would look so good. Even the bottom of the block, really clean too. Aesthetically, this block is absolutely on point. The bottom of the block kind of looks like a blast furnace though, if you're familiar with the other blocks in the game. Now, if we take this block and scale it next to itself, look at this right here. It's clear. This is like a spine or something. You cannot tell me otherwise. And if you do, well, you're just wrong. 100%. It's like a spine or something. This block is so weird. I'm sure you all know who he is, but I gotta send a big shout out to Cubfan. I think I saw the middle two rows of what we're about to check out on Cubfan's Twitter first. This blending, the transition right there from Skull Catalyst to Reinforced Deepslate, it's perfect. It was meant to be or something. The spine goes right up into the middle of the catalyst right there. That's literally perfect. Now, I played around with a couple other blocks here just to show you what's going on. On the bottom, we have Deepslate, transitions into Reinforced, Catalyst, all the way up to the Sculk. That transition is basically perfect. It's really cool. Taking a look at the bigger picture here, I guess, the Deepslate and Reinforced Deepslate, it seems to match the natural Deepslate the most. That combination is almost seamless right there. The other types, they work, but nothing is as good as the natural. Hi, Vsauce, Waddle here. Reinforced Deepslate. What is Reinforce? Reinforced with souls? Reinforced with bones? What's going on here? A couple other blocks that I like to compare to Reinforced Deepslate is Endstone, because that yellow whitish tone, it feels like it matches really well. However, it has been confirmed that this stuff is actually meant to be bones or something. So bone block, it looks good, but to me, I don't know. It still looks more like Endstone. But either way, the Skulk Shrieker right here, this thing, it has those weird bone tentacle things on the top. Reinforced Deepslate over there, the same blue tones, the same tones. It checks out. It's clearly related. Vsauce. So all in all here, looking at this block, it's beautiful. Top side, really good. Side, really great. That other side, it's really cool. The bottom, it's perfect. But unfortunately, survival. How do you get this thing? Well, tragically. Time jump, back to February 2022. February 2022, 1.19 test snapshot number 1. A very interesting functionality is inside of the snapshot. So in the snapshot, in survival Minecraft, like me, right here, right now, I have a sticky piston, I power the piston, I can move that block, I can push and pull it. It's really cool. Arguably, it gets even less cool with a normal piston. With a normal piston, you cannot pull the block, but you can definitely push it. You can move these blocks into a formation, like a wither cage or something, trap the wither, take it out. Insanely cheaty, but it absolutely worked. Time jump, back to nowadays. Inside of the real snapshots, 1.19, how does it work? Well, unfortunately not like that. Sticky piston, normal piston, they can't push or pull this block anymore. Wherever this block generates inside of your world, kind of like with bedrock, it is what it is. It's there forever. Now, how about an explosion? Can we just use an explosion to move this block? Maybe it's in the way. Maybe we want to do something else with it. TNT explosion over there. We blow something up near this block. Nothing happens. Everything else is blown up, including my chest. But Reinforced Deepslate, it survives. Maybe the explosion was too weak, though. What about a bigger explosion? Let's say a respawn anchor. We could find a respawn anchor, put it inside of the city, and then use the thing. What happens then? Well, again, same thing. A much bigger explosion, but unfortunately, the Reinforced Deepslate, it's fine. It doesn't care at all. No matter what you do, you will not be able to blow this block up ever. However, could we maybe mine this block? Well, let's say with our trusty wooden pickaxe, we find Reinforced Deepslate in our world, we want to take it home with us. Well, actually, surprisingly, you can mine this block. Unlike bedrock, unlike, let's say, an endstone frame or anything, you see those pixels right there? They're slowly changing. Let's go ahead and speed things up a little bit to this efficiency pickaxe right here, efficiency 5, fastest in the game. We try and mine this thing. Well, it's gonna mine just like before, but it's gonna mine really, really slowly. This is by far the slowest possible block to mine in the entire game. It's slower than obsidian. However, eventually, once you finish mining this thing, you will get absolutely nothing. Don't believe me? Well, that's fine. Watch. You see? I told you, nothing. I never lie, except for when I do. So those are essentially the major properties that make up this block. How does this compare to other things in the game? Like, is there anything in the entire game that's kind of like this? Well, actually, yes, and these things might kind of reveal what this thing could possibly be for. The only other blocks in the entire survival game that you could consider relatively similar to Reinforced Deepslate, bedrock, and frame. In the case of the bedrock block, obviously, it's used to define where the world starts and where the world ends. Again, at least in survival, if you're playing things right. You won't be able to mine this stuff, though, so it's a little bit different than that stuff over there. Bedrock defines the world, and in a way, then end portal frame block also defines the world. This is an uncraftable, unobtainable, unmineable block. You find this thing in your world, and wherever you find it, it is what it is. Obviously, you put the ender eye inside of the thing, activate it, and you get a brand new dimension. If you've caught some of the other episodes of the series, like for example the Spyglass one where we talked a little bit about X-Ray, then you know I try and showcase as many survival uses as possible. Survival uses, Minecraft 1.19. So I've been thinking and testing for like literally hours now. I've got one thing, guys. I came up with one thing. You can't move this thing, you can't mine this thing, you can't break this thing, it is where it is. And by the way, you find this thing inside of your world only in the middle of the ancient city right there. This thing, it kind of just exists. So what can we do with this thing? The only use that I've been able to come up with after all of my thinking, testing, and planning is this right here. We put obsidian tea right there, we summon the wither in, we give the wither a little bit of time. Why not? We jump in survival right here and stand and wait for this thing. It'll go into the world, and I've trapped it. It's sitting right there. The skulls get out sometimes, but it's not even trapped. As you can see, you can kind of trap the wither inside of the deep slate, but eventually this thing breaks the obsidian that is down below it and is able to freely move outside of the reinforced deep slate. Survival uses? Yeah, that's all I have. If you have a survival use, something that you think you could do with this in 1.19, definitely drop that down below. Approaching the end of this week's Everything Series episode, time jump, back in time, back to that 1.19 test snapshot. I want to check out a structure of the ancient city. This thing is called Small Portal Statue. This might give us a clue as to what the centerpiece and Reinforced Deepslate is for. So this is an actual structure, a piece of the ancient city in the files. Originally, it was called this thing right here. Load it up, what do we get? We get this right here. It is literally a small portal statue. Big portal statue, small portal statue. Big, small, mineshaft. Speaking of back in time, let's stay there. Next up, we have a certified King B-Dog's tier list ranking of some of the 1.19 features. I think King actually made this after my 1.19 tier list, which was really cool. I was like freaking out. But anyways, we have this tier list ranking right here. And then in the replies of the tier list ranking, we have a reply. And then in the replies of the tier list ranking, we have another reply. And that reply this time is from the King himself. People are talking about it a lot, which shows it did its job of adding mystery. To contextualize that one a little bit more for you, that King reply was a reply to a reply asking about Reinforced Deepslate. That's a lot of replies. So fast forward to nowadays, this structure, it's still in the game, it's just called something different, but I think it does hint at what this thing could potentially be. To wrap up this week's episode of the Everything series, let's talk theories. Though it's not technically exclusively about Reinforced Deepslate, the bigger picture here is this whole statue, but of course, Reinforced Deepslate is the block potentially powering whatever it could be. What could this thing be? Big theory number one, and probably the most popular one, is a portal. I mean, after all, we had a literal direct reference to a portal in-game at one point. I mean, the devs kind of had to see this one coming, right? They had something that vaguely looks like a rectangle, maybe more specifically, vaguely looks like an interdimensional doorway, a gateway of sorts into the game. How could they not see the community theorizing that this is some kind of portal? Combine that with the fact that there was a literal structure called portal. I don't know, this one's pretty solid. But maybe you don't believe it, you don't buy it, and your theory is that this does nothing. In response to that, I say, wow, you must be fun at parties. That's cool. If Reinforced Deepslate truly just did nothing at all, like nothing special, completely insignificant, why would they not have just used Deepslate tiles or Deepslate bricks or literally anything else, or soul sand for that matter? Why would they not? I don't know. Another cool that I've seen floating around in the theory is that this gateway is a gateway, but instead of being a gateway to a dimension, it's a gateway that opens up and unleashes things into your world. That sounds cool. I mean, if you think about it, the Skulk is kind of like the soul of beings that have unfortunately gone away, and you find tons and tons of Skulk all over the city. Maybe you do something inside of the city, like, I don't know, light all of these lanterns in front of this portal thing at once, the gateway opens, and then something comes into your world. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. Or, theory number one, maybe you light all of these lamps or do something, you trigger this thing, and it unlocks a whole new part of your world. With the wild updates seemingly wrapping up, it looks like we aren't going to get the official answer to Reinforced Deepslate and this portal thing until at least the next update at the soonest. What do you think this thing could be, though? Take your guess down in the comments below. That's where we're going to cut it today. Everything to know about Reinforced Deepslate. In the future, once we know more about this thing, maybe I'll make an updated guide. I would like to sincerely thank all of you for watching this video, especially if you made it all the way to this point in the video. You're like amazing, you're great, one of the best people of all time, so thank you. If you liked this episode and you haven't seen the episode on Swift Sneak, I highly recommend it. It's another thing that you find inside of the ancient city. It's another 1.19 thing. Check it out. Noodle Pork Bill W, Monkey Boy Chuck, and Fateful Grimworm, thank you all so much for the support. Playlists to the Everything series will be on the end card, so definitely check that out. It's me, Waddles. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.